Hello and welcome to Gardening at 58 North. This is my Frangipani. It's not looking too well at the moment, so I thought I'd give you guys an update on what's happening with it and why it's not looking very happy at the moment. So, a bit of background history. This is about 4 years old now, this plant. Every single winter it's lost its leaves, apart from last winter was the only winter it didn't drop its leaves. Now this plant in the wild is deciduous depending on its environment, so if it's somewhere where it gets cool, gets a cold period, or somewhere that gets a very dry period, it will lose its leaves to survive the dry period or survive the cold period, and then when the weather improves again it will grow them again. But if it's in a hot place that's always humid, it will just keep growing, it won't bother going too dormant and losing its leaves. So it's really opportunistic dormancy in this plant. So it's semi-deciduous, you could say. It will lose its leaves sometimes, but only if it's unfavourable. So last winter, the reason it didn't lose its leaves was it didn't have any pests on it at all. And also last winter we did actually have a decent amount of sunshine in this room, so it was just enough to keep it going. But all the other years I've had thrips, and thrips is really what's weakened it and caused it to lose its leaves. This year's is also because of the weather. It's been really cloudy. It's a bit brighter today, but as you can see it's still cloudy. Every day it's cloudy pretty much. But it's just been a very cloudy winter this year. So it's the middle of January, the light hasn't been good for several months now. Most of the plants are suffering anyway. As I said, it's thrips that have done this damage mainly. You can see the characteristic thrip damage here, especially up here. You can see what you get is lots of little silver flecks on the leaves, and that's where they've damaged it when they were sucking the juices out of the plant. So I'm expecting all of these leaves to fall off now. But you'll see with thrips you don't really get much damage on the underside. It's pretty much fine, it's just the tops of the leaves. So this has caused it to lose all its leaves. It's already lost about 70%, maybe more. Could have had leaves all the way down the stem right down to here, so you can see how much it's been losing. And it's actually been kind of exponential, because the fewer leaves it has, the more thrips there are on each leaf, because there's less leaves for the thrips to be on. So as the leaf dies, the thrips have been running onto the stem and then going on to the next leaf, so it's been getting worse and worse. I keep spraying it with SP Invigorator, which is a contact pesticide. It's not actually a pesticide, it's got soap in it and oils that suffocate the insects, so it's not the chemicals that kill them, but this has been only slightly effective. Unfortunately it hasn't killed all of them. It works very well on aphids. It cleared up the aphids on this plant, but not the thrips. So I'll see if I can show you some. They're incredibly small animals, the thrips. So if you can just see here next to my nail, a tiny green thing, there's a thrip. If I just touch it, it should start moving. There you are. And that's the kind of size that they are. You can see how small that is. It's even smaller than a pinprick. Now that's a young one, because it's green, but you also get older ones which are brown, and they're not much bigger. See, there's one here. Focus that brown bit there, I'll just touch it so it moves so you can see it. See it moving there? That's the thrip. Touch it again, there it is, running along. So you can see even the adults are very small. So when you're looking for thrips, you probably won't notice the actual insects themselves, because they are so tiny, but you will notice the damage, which is this characteristic mottling that you get on the foliage. I'll just give you guys a close-up so you can see in more detail what it's like. There you are. That's what you're looking for when you're looking for thrip damage. Just the mottling grey colour. So this will lose all its leaves. Once all its leaves have finally fallen off, I'll probably spray a bit of pesticide on it, and I will give it a wash with some soapy water to make sure that any thrips that are hiding on the stems are killed off. I don't want it to spread to any other plants. So once that's happened, come June, because these are, when it's warm enough and sunny enough, it should start growing new leaves. And hopefully if I've eradicated them, next winter it will keep its leaves. But what's happened every year, apart from one with this plant, is it grows really healthily and happily in the summer when the thrip numbers are really low. And then as the summer goes on, the thrips build up, then population more and more. And by winter it's got loads of thrips. And then with the lack of light and with the number of thrips, it goes deciduous again. So it breaks the cycle of the thrips, but it means it's always deciduous. And interestingly, even though last year it kept all its leaves, it didn't actually grow any more last year than it has in all the other years. So it doesn't seem to really adversely affect the plant at all. So at the moment I'm withholding the watering. I mean, it's a self-watering pot, but I've pretty much stopped watering now, letting it get nice and dry. Because when the Frangipani goes dormant, you want to have it really very dry indeed. Even if the stem starts shriveling up, it's not a big issue. If they get really shriveled, you want to give it a bit of water, but you want to keep them quite nice and dry. Hopefully we'll get some good strong growth in spring again. I'll give you guys an update when that happens. But that's the situation on my Frangipani at the moment, and it's not looking too happy, but I'm sure we'll get through.